So here we are in our canvas shell, and we have, from week 1 to week 10 we'll be working with Adobe Illustrator, and here I've placed an illustration of the toolbox and kind of the name of the tools. So print it out or make a copy of it and just remember a few of the important tools. But here are all the tools in Illustrator. And then the next page is actually this is a overview of some of these functions and these little icons that are next to the pen tool. And I'll talk about those in my lecture. But this is your reference material. Now here's a list of some of the shortcuts. Everything has a shortcut. Command C, Command V for copy and paste. Just a regular V is the selection tool. I have memorized a few, and they're just here for you for reference. You don't have to memorize these at all. So let's see, there's another. So here's that camera template that is also in Illustrator in that learn component, but it's also here for you to look at and to download. And then so here we have our first pen tool exercise. So we're in Canvas. And the way for you to get this into Illustrator, because here I'm going to show this, use this, and there's a couple of these actually. Well, not this one. This is a little, we'll do that later. But if we just go back to this one, actually there's one, there should be one. No, there's only one for tonight. All right, well, for next week, I have some more. Yes, so this is the one. So let's go back and then I'll show you how to download that and then place that. So previous, back, and you'll see that there's a lot more things for you in Illustrator if you want to learn more. So let's first look at this pen tool. And then so we download this pen tool exercise dot, it's a GIF. I don't know why it's a GIF, but we download it. We click on download, and then it should download it. Oh. It's not downloading it. Oh, how embarrassing. All right, so let's go to plan B because there is a technical hiccup. Now here, so this was from the pen tool exercise, and I think it's the fact that it's a GIF maybe, but here are some more templates. And here we have template 1, and that's the one that I kind of showed you last week. So let's go to the next template. And that's another leaf. That's a little too advanced. All right, so here we are. This is a good template to start with. So this is a JPEG and this is a template. It lives in Canvas. And what we can do is we can click on download the template, and then the template will actually, download is blocked. Oh. So now we will download that template. And I just redid my computer recently, and so I don't know why that is the case. So this sits in my downloads, and I go to Illustrator. I have to do a new share. So we go to Illustrator, and we'll share. There's my beautiful artwork, and I'm dragging a marquee around that. And so now I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to open up my layers. And when you start with Illustrator, you always have one layer. And this is important, and it's good that it's being recorded, because this is how you'll introduce your sketch or whatever it is of your tattoo into Illustrator. We go to File, and we're not going to create a new document because we have one. We're not going to open one. But in this document or on this document, we're going to place that template. And so what we can do is we can say File Place, and I know it's in my downloads. And here's template number 1. And I click, and before I click Place, I check the template. So that is really important. If you skip that step, then it will not show up as a template. So we click template and we click place, and then look what happens. Illustrator creates, this is a separate layer. And this layer, the selection color is red. This layer, this little lock means that it's locked, and I can click in the lock and make it and unlock it. And then what I can do is I can drag it and move it to the center of my page. And then I'm going to lock it again. And so this is the layer that has the template. And this is the tool, the pen tool that we're going to draw on. But the first thing that you see when I select that tool is I get the little no can draw sign. And that is because I'm selecting a layer that is locked. And if I click on layer 1, then my pen tool will show up. So it's important that you always have your layers open so you can see that. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Another quick key to zoom in is you hold down the space bar, and the space bar will give you the hand tool, and the space bar and the command tool will give you the magnify tool. All right, so that's this tool. Now I have the pen tool, and as you saw briefly on the cheat sheet that I have for you, when the pen tool shows an asterisk, it means it's creating a new line. And so what we're going to do is we're going to follow this template, and here it says click. So I move my pen tool into the first box and I click. And now you'll see that there's a connection between the pen tool and the little asterisk went away. Because what that means is it's making a connection with its previous point. And so I'm going to switch it from black to white, and I'm going to go click. And you'll see that there's a purple guide that is telling me that this point is exactly at the same level as the point to the left. And we go here, and here's the same thing. That purple line tells me these points are horizontally aligned. And so I click here and I click there, and there I have my template. Now, Illustrator will not give up clicking, right? So Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z to undo that. And so what I do is I go to the toolbox and click on the black arrow tool, and or what I can do, Command Z to undo that, or Command Shift Z to redo that. Oh, I can't undo that. And then what I can do is I can select the fill color and give that a fill of none. And then I can select the stroke, or the thing that I made, and then go to my stroke and make it a thicker stroke. So that's the first thing we're going to do with the pen tool. I'm going to do it one more time, and my stroke is set to 6 points right now, so you'll be able to see it more. So I'm going to click and then follow the guidelines, so I make sure that these points are horizontally on the same plane. And so that's how you get this really nice, precise work. And what I can do, this is also pretty cool, is so this last little area is visibility and invisibility. And you can see that our line work in Illustrator is much nicer and smoother. So this was the easy part. I press down the space bar and I go to the next part. And this is the part where you really want to pay attention and do a little bit of practicing with these templates. And I'll definitely move these templates up in Canvas. But so here we have the template. And I want to show you something first before I do this. Um, I just hit the artboard. There's another tool in Illustrator, right? There is our, actually, I've never used this tool in my life. There is the brush tool and there's the pencil tool, right? So if I have the pencil tool, same thing, the asterisk, we start a new object. And what I'm going to do, the best that I can do is I'm going to draw a heart with the pen tool because I want to tattoo a heart somewhere. And now I have a heart. And if I want to change that heart, of course, I can make it a little smaller. I can make it a little skinnier. I can make it a little taller. I can do anything kind of with the shape here. But if I get into my direct select tool, let me zoom in a little bit more here. And if I select, I see all these anchor points and direction lines. And if I want to change the shape of the heart, I have to pull on all these anchor lines. And you'll also see that the more of these points that I have to draw this, and this is what the pencil tool does, the more difficult it's going to be for me to make some edits. Now, the way that I would draw a heart in Illustrator is using the pen tool. And don't be shocked, you'll be knocking this out before you know it. So let me draw it first, and I'll tell you what it is that I've done. So I have 2 anchor points, and I have 2 of these handles, and we call these direction lines. And if you remember from earlier when we were drawing a circle also has these handles. And if I move a point or if I move a handle, I can change the shape of my line. And I can do that by pulling on the line, but I don't have a lot of control. I can do that by pulling on these anchor lines, these handlebars. And what you need to understand as a concept is if I just delete part of this by doing the black, holding down selecting the white selection tool and then deleting a component of it. So what it is that you need to understand about the pen tool and these anchor points, right? So a line lives in between 2 anchor points, a beginning anchor point and an end anchor point. It can be a straight line or it can be a curved line, right? And then this is how a straight line looks. And again, Command Z to undo that. If I hold down the Shift key, it will constrain that line to a perfectly horizontal line or a line of 45 degrees. Holding, you see no Shift and then Shift, it constrains, right? So I can create, if I hold down the Shift key and I click and I keep holding down the Shift key, and here's my guide, I'm above that point, I can draw a pretty perfect rectangle by holding down the Shift key with the pen tool. Now, this is the anchor point, and think of these as arms, almost magnetic arms. The longer you make this, the more it will follow. And if I go the other way, it will change. It will change the shape. And I'm not doing that by pulling on the line. I can do that, I just don't have so much control. But if I understand this, and so this kind of, if I command or spacebar command option zoom out and then go here, this is kind of how you practice that. We have the anchor point just like above, right? And we click and drag up. So we click and we don't let go of the mouse until we created that handle. And so now you'll see that Illustrator from that handle Command Z to undo that. Because if I do this, if I drag down, you'll see, and let me make my stroke a little thicker. You'll see that if I create my stroke, it wants to follow this line. So what I need to do, Command Z to undo that, I already need to anticipate the curve is going to go this way. So I'm going to click and drag up. And then here I'm going to click and drag down. And here I'm going to click and see again, these guys are horizontally aligned. Click and drag up. And you just have to put the point, the arrow onto that last point. And if it's not 100% precise, don't worry about that. So that is the next component of this. I'm going to select the command key, and the command key will activate my last tool that I selected, or I press the V key, and now I have the selection tool and I can delete it. I'm going to show you one more time. So I select the pen tool, I get the asterisk, there's a new object to be drawn. I click and hold and drag, and I'm not creating artwork, a line, I'm creating a handle and an anchor point. And from that handle and that anchor point, I can create my next one. Click, hold, drag. If you click and let go, then Illustrator gets confused. And if you get, and you can go to the next one, and you don't have the lines there. Now, Command key, click to deselect. And so here I can select this as an object, or I can select this and examine it. So now I can see that direction line is missing. I only have an anchor point. And here I can see the direction line. And no, it must be really difficult for you to see on that end, but there definitely is the direction line, and then there is the direction line. And it's even hard for me to see in my own screen. All right. Now, and I can still move these points. And if I want to create these handles after the fact, there's a tool for that. You saw that in the little pen tool box here is an arrow, is a little arrow, and if you click, and if you click, and if you click, you get the anchor point tool. And what that does is it's this upside down V. And if you click and hold and drag, you will create the anchor points, or sorry, the direction line from the anchor point. And now if I want to adjust my direction line, I go to the white selection tool, because that makes local adjustments to do that. I'm going to go to the next one, because there's one more skill that is needed here. So we go to the pen tool. The asterisk says we're drawing a new object. Click and drag into the direction where my line needs to go. And I go here and I go into the direction where the line needs to go. And now if I go here, then right, I can never really make that curve. Command Z to undo that. So what I need to do here is I need to get into that anchor point, and you see Illustrator is telling me that I'm going to use that little upside down V tool, right? That anchor point tool, without actually going to it. And what I can do here is I can click and hold. What happens now if I go that way? The curve changes, because the curve, the default of these handles is that they're always parallel to each other. And if I hold down the Option key, look what happens to the one on the bottom here. It goes away, Option key, Nico, it goes away. And then if I click and hold and drag, I can create a new, or I can recreate that direction line to make the curve do what it is that I want. So I get into the anchor point, hold down the Option key. I got my little upside down V, and I click and hold and drag and recreate that handle, that direction line. Click and hold and drag. You see, I'm pulling my arrow there. I'm pulling this down to make the top part match. So it's a little bit like playing chess. You always have to be thinking a step ahead. In chess, you have to think many steps ahead. Press the Command key to deselect, go to my layers, and make my template invisible. All right. So I spent quite a bit of time on this. I'm very proud of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. I'm going to go save. And this is pen tool test 1. And where am I going to put it? I'm going to put it, remember I created a folder called demos. Well, Illustrator knows my recent places. I go to my recent place. Yes, it's in 2.1, 2.11 assignments. And so there it is, it's saved. So if you can complete this either tonight or for your homework, then you are well on your way. If you're struggling with this, then look at this video again and send me an email, because you can always meet me for an office hour to get this down. This is not easy, and but I do know that everyone in this class can learn this, because every student I've ever had has overcome this learning curve of drawing curves with this rather unintuitive tool, but every designer uses it, and we're going to use this for the next 2 assignments. So I'm going to stop my recording, and